Welcome and thank you for joining us for the online Q&A for a Black Lady Sketch Show. My name is Gwen Deglis and I'm the programmer for the American Cinematheque. I'd like to invite you to visit our website for more information about the Cinematheque and how you can support our organization. This discussion is with the creator and the star of a Black Lady Sketch Show, Robin Thede, and the director, Dime Davis. The moderator is Carla Renata, the Curvy Film Critics. Enjoy.
Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome. And thank you so much for joining us for this fantabulous discussion that we are going to have with Miss Robin Thede and Miss Dime Davis. Hey, y'all, how's it going?
How are you? Robin's laughing at me already. We just started.
Look, before we get into the conversation, though, I have to give you your flowers. I was doing a little research, Dime, and I found out that the last time somebody was nominated in this category, it was Debbie Allen. It was Debbie Allen, and she was nominated she was nominated in 1989 for it was special outstanding directing for a variety of music program, but this makes you the first person to be nominated as the first woman for directing the series. So it was a little bit of a distinction difference, but I just have to give you your flowers and give you yours too, Miss Robin.
Thank you.
Because y'all are just all about making first. And let's just get to this. Angela Bassett seems to be a good luck charm for people. Because every time she show up in somebody's show, they win Emmys. I'm just saying.
Hello.
I'm just gonna put it out there. How did you get? You know what time it was. You like, let's get Angela Bassett. Maybe we'll get an Emmy now. Maybe we might even win one. How did y'all get her to be involved in the Bad Bitch support group? Because that was pure comedy.
Oh my God, thank you so much. Like, she is so game. I think a lot of the times, we were doing another panel with her. Dime, remember when she said, she was like, sometimes you just have to ask nicely. Yeah. And I was like, wow, okay. I mean, because that's what we did. I mean, she said to me that she was a fan of me from The Rundown, which is wild. I don't think of Angela Bassett even like watching TV. So the fact that she used to watch my late night show is insane. But I think about, I wrote a letter to her. We wrote a sketch we really only wrote 2 sketches with people in mind. Well, 3 if you count 227. But Patti LaBelle and Angela Bassett, we wrote actual roles for them in these specific sketches, and they kind of couldn't work without them. So she was the first person we went out to and the first person who said yes. I wrote a letter to her. I know Issa had reached out to her as well. Issa Rae, she's an executive producer on this show. Little known actress. And Angela was just so game. And I was like, if you want to talk about this, here's the script. And she said she read it and was like, how can I not do this? Which was so dope for us, just that she would have that reaction. So we're just thrilled.
It was great. And the way y'all set her up, where we didn't see her until she actually sat down, I really
Dime Davis.
That. I love that.
It's Angela Bassett. You need a reveal. It's Angela Bassett. Yeah. I mean, to Robin's point, you don't expect Angela Bassett to be doing a sketch show. Right. And we knew, like, when we got her, that was such a special kind of moment for us. And we knew the impact it would have on that particular sketch. So I think it was super important that we made a splash out of it and revealed her the way we did.
Yeah, it splashed all over the eastern and western seaboard. It just went, So, but what I really want to know is, how did the idea for the Black Lady Sketch Show come about, and how did you and Dime get hooked up?
So the idea came about because I've been doing sketch for 20 years plus, and I've done a bunch of different sketch shows as a writer performer, but never had a chance to create one. So I knew when my late night show was ending that my next move was going to be a sketch show with all Black women. So, I just made every move to make that happen. And when my late night show got canceled, Issa called me and said, we got to do something together. I said, I have this sketch show, and I kind of already sold it somewhere else, but I don't know if the money's looking right. She was like, bring it to HBO. Let's see if we can get a little more. So we did, and we did. And HBO sent us straight to series after I pitched it, and they bought it in the room. So immediately I made 2 hires. One was my head writer and co-executive producer, Lauren Ashley Smith. And then, and then the cast, and then Dime. You have to do an order of things.
It's accurate.
It was funny because Dime, so I knew Dime, we had met, we have mutual friends, and we had met, but I was like kind of stalking her. Not kind of, I was stalking her.
It was a stalk. Yeah, it was definitely a stalking situation.
It was definitely a stalking situation. So I had reached out to her reps. We share an agent, and I said, look, I'm really trying to meet with your client about this new show I'm doing for HBO, da da da. She's like, cool. I'll let her know. Didn't hear from Dime. Then I go to another mutual friend we have, and I'm like, I'm trying to get a hold of Dime. And he's like, okay, I'll help you. Did not get any response. Then I see one of her best friends at an event. I think it was like a Golden Globes party or something. And I was like, hey, so I'm trying to get a hold of Dime. Like, I need you to tell her to answer. And I had reached out to Dime directly too. Could not get a hold of her. She was on some spiritual retreat, like not answering any, which honestly, respect. But at the time that week, I was just stalking her from literally every angle. And she finally called and she goes, what?
No, not with the attitude.
I did
not. No, she didn't. She was joking. She was like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you.
She was like, what the hell?
Yeah. What? No, but the great thing was Dime was so game though. Dime was so game. She was the one that came in with a full presentation. Like she was so like over prepared for the meeting that we had no choice. It was obvious who was going to get that job.
Now, but I was stalked. I have to be honest about this.
Yeah,
I was stalked. It was scary. But I always like to tell the story. I have to tell it. You skipped over it. I thought you were going to nail it, but you did not.
Take two.
When we talked, like, you know, I had never done sketch before, right? So I was like, I don't know if this is quite for me. But I talked to Robin and she kind of laid out her vision and she said like 4 words that were just pretty much undeniable for me. And those were grounded, magical, cinematic, and narrative. And I was like, well, I have to. Like, I didn't even know a sketch show could like have all of those things. So there was really no choice. I had to do it.
Sure.
Oh, y'all are some deep dolls.
You are good at pitching.
Look,
very good at pitching.
You gave her like pitch narratives for the gods. I'm like, well, okay. That was kind of impressive. I know that I have my favorite sketches from the show, but what are you all's favorite sketches that you enjoy looking back at it now?
I have a few. You know what I feel like we never talk about? We never talk about Killing It. Killing It? I feel like we never, like, it's.
I feel like you mention it all the time. I know it's your favorite.
Maybe that's the problem. I love Killing It. I love Killing It so much. It feels like classic to me. Also, Get the Belt. I always mention that. That's one I definitely mention. It's my favorite. Yes, I agree.
And the world doesn't talk about it, and it really is one of our favorite sketches. But the world always talks about Bad Bitch Support Group and Crystal Michelle and 227 and Basic Ball and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think Killing It needs more shine. It's a great sketch.
Do they ever talk about the Shakespeare one? Because the Shakespeare one is the one that
all
got
the time.
The Suicide Shakespeare Pact. Yes. That was pure comedy right there.
Yeah,
that was comedy.
My mother just had an epiphany about Rome and Jalissa that I have to share after seeing it so many times. Like HBO just did a marathon this past weekend. And she goes, you know, I was watching Rome and Jalissa again, and I didn't realize that the way they commit suicide is by deleting their social media accounts. I was like, Mom, that's the whole crux of the sketch. She was like, I thought they were just like tweeting or something. I was like, Mom, what? But that sketch is great, and it's written in perfect iambic pentameter. Thank you to Ashley Nicole Black and Lauren Ashley Smith. And they use it in college courses to get people into Shakespearean language because it's so accessible. So, you know, we're teaching also.
I love that, because the last time I saw something like that used in the confines of entertainment with Black people was the Women in Brewster Place. When Leon had the whole Shakespeare thing in the neighborhood with Robin Givens. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was the last time I saw Black people do that. I know that was like a long time ago.
I used to love it. I think I was probably a little too young to be watching it, but I was obsessed with that.
Thanks, Dime. Thank you.
Oh,
I was a full adult. I was a full adult, I'm sure. But yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Y'all know that movie come on TV, but Insta-Who.
Right.
I'm gonna move on.
I'm so young.
Stop it. I'm not Methuselah, but okay, I'll take it. So some people in the chat room want to know, will there be any way for young Black writers to join the writers' room?
Well, shut up, Di.
Sorry.
Stop it.
Good question.
Well, in season 2, we already added 3 young, never before credited television writers. So sure, there's a chance. But season 2 is already written. So, and we don't have a green light yet for season 3 because we haven't even made season 2. So will there be a chance? God willing, there'll be a season 3. And the tricky thing about this business is you got to have representation. It's hard for me. I can't like go to your house and ask you for a packet. And I don't accept blind sketches because people could sue me for copying their ideas. So it's a little tricky.
This
and that
is
is
true.
part of the gates, that's part of the gates of Hollywood that is tough to get through, but we are trying to work with HBO to figure out ways that we can get folks on set, if not in a writer capacity, in a way that gets them around and on set and we get to know them and they can work their way up.
That's a perfect segue into the next question. Someone wanted to know, they said, I pitched the idea of creating an all-female Black sketch comedy series to 3 Arts Entertainment and they rejected me. So Robin and Dime, I'm incredibly thankful that you pushed through and showed the world that there's a place for women in comedy. How do you stay strong when facing that type of adversity?
That's a good question.
Well, first of all, I don't know why you're pitching to a management company and not a studio. That doesn't make any sense. But maybe that's where they're represented. So fair enough. I feel bad for that person. It feels like, 3 Arts makes television. 3 Arts reps Issa, and they're involved in this project. So they're great. I just, I think you have to go to places that we're going to be able to greenlight your stuff. So I am sad that project didn't happen. The reason why we named our show a Black Lady Sketch Show and not the, so it could be one of many. I'm very hopeful that more get greenlit. I think that person, whoever that person is, should take it, and if they have connections like 3 Arts, they should go to studios and repitch it, and they should. To me, it's not dead anyway. I would produce it, but I contractually can only produce my own. But I think, anyway, getting around obstacles like that, we've all pitched stuff that hasn't gone or, worked on projects for years that have never seen the light of day. That was the first 10 years of my career, quite honest. Yeah, I think you just got to keep going. If you're passionate about this, you're never going to stop. You're always going to find something new to do.
And Dime, what would you want to add to that, especially in terms of being a director? Because being a director in Hollywood is hard enough, but then you put the fact that you're a female and that you're a Black female on top of that, it comes with its own special set of challenges.
Definitely. I first want to say, going back to what Robin's saying, I think also it depends on when they pitch that. I think the world has to be ready sometimes, right? And Robin had that idea for 1,000 years because you're 1,035. Right. So she had that for a while, right? And I think sometimes you just gotta wait for the world to be ready for you. And as far as adversity, listen, it just kind of is what it is. Like you gotta keep going. I know that sounds kind of like cliche and corny, but like you just have to keep going. And I think it's important to like work your craft and learn, and be a stickler about it and really care about the craft. It's not just about kind of like the fun of I guess being a star like Robin. People like me really have to grind it out,
Honestly, everything is so easy for me. It's very easy.
Y'all are funny. Y'all know good and well that it's hard out there for a pimp. I'm just saying.
No, it's very difficult.
It's hard.
For sure.
It's hard.
For sure. But that's why this was so beautiful, I think, because listen, it was hard to do all of this, but we got to do it with each other. And it was such a beautiful experience. I've never had that experience, to just work with a bunch of Black women who get the material, get what we're going for. It's like, it's so joyous. And if we had to wait a little while for that, it was kind of worth it for sure.
You know what I really love about a Black Lady Sketch Show is that opening with puppets, because I particularly come from a puppet background. I was in The Lion King where I did puppets, and I was in Avenue Q where I did puppets.
No,
I didn't do puppets in Avenue Q.
Yes,
but I was in a puppet shows twice. So I loved the opening, and I really loved how each one of the puppets looked like the 4 women that are the crutch of the show. What was the impetus? Yeah, what was the impetus to open the show like that? Because it's so unique and different. Like you guys could have did a whole thing where it was freezing on y'all, you know, as real people, but you use these puppets, and they're all four of the puppets are in these crazy situations. You know?
Well, people don't know this. Okay.
Oh no.
Please share, please.
But the first, I think, important thing everybody in the world needs to know is that Robin, tell them, Robin, what are you? She's a puppeteer, guys. Robin
I am a master puppeteer. That is true.
Sorry,
master. Thank you.
You're a puppeteer for real?
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
my
a master
favorite thing about you,
puppeteer.
honestly.
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm a master puppeteer. I was trained by the Jim Henson School, and I used to tour the country for 3 summers as a young teenager in a Christian puppet group called the King's Kids. And I have since been trying to puppet on every show I am on, and everyone always laughs at me. And I said, well, God damn it, when I get my own show, okay, we're having puppets. So I commissioned Viva La Puppet, and I said, it was a 3-month-long process to take pictures of the cast, do 3D images. Dime took pictures of us. Like, we did all these things to craft these puppets. They individually hand-picked the texture for all the puppet hair because we were like, the hair got to be right. And so, yeah, it was just a thrilling process, and it was so fun to do. And our writers know that I'm obsessed with puppets. I think Holly Walker, who I've been with for years since Second City and The Nightly Show and a bunch of places, and wrote on the show, she was like, you know, you want to do something with puppets. I was like, oh, I definitely do. And then the writers just kind of pitched a bunch of ideas. We were like, well, what if we're doing different kinds of like little vignettes with each of the puppets, and then we meet up at the end when we're all kind of running away from a situation that's gone wrong in our lives, like somebody gets shot, like some of us are crying and some of us just catch on fire, you know, just crazy things you can do with puppets.
It was hilarious. And as a person that comes from the puppet world a little bit here and there, I was fascinated by that. I'm like, well, okay, for the puppets in the opening montage, it was everything.
And you never get to see Black women puppets.
I know.
When was the last time you ever saw a Black woman puppet?
No,
never. And for it to be the opening, I think is really special because it's like, oh, what you thought you were gonna get, you're not.
Yes.
It's something totally different.
That is also, absolutely. That is also one of the things that I absolutely adore and appreciate about this show. You guys do not do anything that people expect. Like there was this one thing where I forget who said it, but I think it was during the Girls' Council where somebody must have said, there's no right way to be Black. And I was like, I wanted to talk to y'all about that because we're in Hollywood. And so there are different ideologies about what Black is. We've even seen it this last week with the Democratic Convention when they announced Kamala Harris as the running mate, and people talking about, well, she ain't really Black. And I'm like, but what is Black? What is Black, and what's the right way to be Black? Y'all want to address that real fast? I mean, there's no real fast way to address that, but you know.
I mean, honestly, I feel like the show addresses that. Like, these women don't play one character more than. Sorry, wait, let me back up. They play like a billion characters, each person, and each woman.
They don't play more than one character.
I know. I was like, what are you saying?
But no, we got some stats about that. We got some stats about that. So I know
every type of women in this show because I mean that kind of is the point. I think the show really addresses that, and I think people come in maybe expecting one thing and get 97 different other things.
Let's just address some of the stats that go along with this show, just so people know, because I don't think people know that there were 55 guest stars in 6 episodes. That's a lot of guest stars in 6 episodes, and a lot of women and men's and everything that you're trying to pull together. And let me just say, the photography and the makeup was on point, which is a whole, and the hair, everything. Mwah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Had to say it. There are 100 characters by the core 4, and there's 275 plus Black people that appeared on screen alone with speaking lines or featured non-speaking lines. So let's just give homage to that. And let's give homage to the fact that 2 other people got nominated from the show. Angela Davis, like we mentioned earlier,
Angela Bassett.
Why say Angela Davis? I'm gonna catch her. I meant Angela Bassett. Thank you.
Season 2.
Thank you. Angela Davis will be in season 2 now. Angela Bassett got an Emmy nom, and so did Nicole. So you guys are just like,
yeah. Well, so did Laverne. I mean, lots of our
yeah,
guests.
everybody got love. That's great.
Well, Nicole's not nominated for our show. She's nominated
No,
for
but
Nailed It, but
she's not nominated for your show, but she
Oh.
got, I'm just saying that
Listen,
a lot of people,
Issa, Yvonne, Nicole, Laverne, Angela, Dime. I mean, no. We got Emmy nominees all up and through there.
Yeah. I just wanted to point that out, that this is probably the first year in Emmy history that this many Black women have been nominated for primetime Emmys, because there's a distinction. There's the daytime Emmys and there's the primetime Emmys. This is the primetime Emmys, and the primetime Emmys gave love to a lot of Black folks, y'all in particular, and y'all got showered upon. So I just wanted to make sure that I give you all the flowers that you deserve while I have you here, and so that while people are watching and listening, that they know, and that we educate them too, because they'll watch the show, but they don't know some of that stuff that I just told them, or some of those stuff that y'all just shared. So I just want to make sure that they know.
I appreciate that, because, you know, a lot of people don't know those stats. I haven't heard anybody. We always kind of send them out to places, but no one really talks about it. They've talked about the 55 guest stars in 6 episodes, but they haven't talked about the 275 roles for Black people. They haven't talked about the 100+ characters that 4 Black women play in 6 episodes. Like, I just think it's so dope, and it's so such a testament to the versatility of Black women in comedy, and we never get credit for that. You know, we think about Black women stand-up comedians, Monique, Wanda, Whoopi, all these women who honestly have been disrespected most of their careers. For as great as they are, they need to be held up, I think, and celebrated much more.
Absolutely.
And at least paid their money. And, you know, I think that in sketch comedy, the numbers are even small. I don't think anyone before a Black lady sketch show could name more than 5 Black women who are sketch comedians or improv comedians. I think you can name Maya Rudolph, maybe Ellen Claiborne, but other than that, there's not, you know, maybe Leslie Jones, like somebody recently from SNL, but there aren't a lot. And even like, I feel like this generation now doesn't even know Kim Wayans and all these beautiful Black women that performed on In Living Color. And like, those are all the women that showed us that we could do it, you know, and that showed us that it was possible. So I always want to give love to them, even, you know, and while we're taking this honor, it's because we're standing on the shoulders of all of these Black women who came before us, who had to work in these super, not only white male dominated environments, or even on other Black shows like In Living Color. They treated them well and gave them all these amazing parts, and they wrote their own stuff, but it felt like the world wasn't ready to embrace them the same way they were the men, you know, and I think that's a shame. That's a shame. So we stand on their shoulders, truly.
Absolutely. You know, the same thing happened at SNL with the women there. They had their challenges there with, you know, writing with men. It's always a challenge, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew how many characters that y'all were doing. And that's no easy feat. You know, some people have one character that they do for an entire season, and y'all did a plethora of different characters. So I just wanted to make sure that that was acknowledged. Someone in the chat room would like for y'all to talk about the teacher sketch where the students noticed that the teacher was sad and or depressed.
Oh, I did not know how that sketch was going to be received. I was like, is this going to be sad? Like, it's a long way to go for a California lottery commercial. But, you know, we love taking a long walk for a commercial, boy. We love it. Gang orientation is a monster.com. We love taking a long walk to a commercial. But I love that sketch. That sketch it could have gone a lot of ways in the edit, which was very interesting. And Dime knows we played with it a lot, and it was a lot longer at one point, and then it got way shorter. And I think where it ended up being so perfect, because it captures the silliness meeting the sadness of Gabrielle Dennis, who deserves an Oscar for her performance. Not even an Emmy, just a straight up film Oscar.
Gabrielle, the things that Gabrielle had to do on that show were bananas. Bananas.
Crazy. And she just killed it. And I think it was such a beautiful, the kids were so good. Like she had to learn that choreography in 15 minutes. Like there was so much that we shot Motown Meltdown the same day.
I know, that's the crazy thing. We were shooting so many
crazy things. We were shooting so many things a day. People have no idea how fast we shot, how much we shot. People are like, oh, you must have spent somebody told me, Dime, did you guys spend 2 or 3 days per sketch? And I was like, oh, what?
I wish.
4 hours.
Yeah, I wish. I love that sketch though, because I really enjoy working with the kids. And it was a nice change of pace. I mean, I was working with, the older kids, right? But working with these young kids was really great. And it was inspiring. It was like, a reminder that we're doing this because we love it, but also for the next kind of kids to come along. It was really special. I love that day. It was a wild day, but it was really beautiful.
Cool. There's another question, speaking of casting. People want to know, Robin, what was the decision made in casting Quinta Brunson? I know comedians seen as internet celebs can oftentimes be typecast.
Yeah, no, well, I don't see her as an internet celeb. I saw her as a legit actor. She was developing a not Comedy Central, a CBS pilot at the time with Larry Wilmore, who's obviously a dear family friend at this point of mine. But no, I've been watching Quinta for years, and she's been a friend of mine for years, and I just knew what she was capable of. Quinta is not just an internet comedian. Like, yeah, she ground her teeth at BuzzFeed, but no, she's capable of so much more. And I knew about her writing and her stuff she was developing. And like, I just knew how dynamic she was. I mean, for me, that was what it was about the whole cast. People saw Gabrielle Dennis as a dramatic actress and Luke Cage in The Game. And people saw Ashley Nicole Black as just a correspondent on Sam B and as a writer mostly. But I just knew what they were all capable of doing. These are women I've known for a really long time, and women who I knew just needed the right platform to shine, and boy did they.
I love that. I love that you created a platform not only for yourself, but for people that are not necessarily getting the shine, like a Quinta, like a Gabrielle, like a Nicole. Like, they get little dribs and drabs here and there, but you have provided them that opportunity. Tyler Perry does the same thing in another respect. He will hire people for his shows that you haven't seen in a while. Like Crystal, that's on there. Crystal was on In the Heat of the Night, and we didn't see her for a long time.
Another great show.
Great show, but we didn't see her for a long time. And then she shows up on The Have and the Have-Nots, and people act like, oh, where's she been? She been here. She's always been in plain sight. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think all of these women were working, and in the zeitgeist, they were just known for other things. But when Gabrielle Dennis and I first came to LA around the same time, we were both up for a sketch show on Showtime with Damon Wayans, and she got it and I didn't. And then we would go perform, and I would see her stand up, and she would come to my sketch shows. Like, so we just knew what each other was. Everybody, I think, had their own success. I mean, I don't think everybody knew Quinta. Ashley had a huge fan base. Gabrielle was a huge fan base. So I don't think it was necessarily like bringing people from obscurity, but I do think it was giving people a shot at something that most agents would have never put them up for.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. I know that because it's a sketch show, there's a certain amount of improvisation that's used, but how much of it was scripted and how much of it was improvised? Because those outtakes were pure comedy.
No, we don't improvise at all.
Yeah. Really?
Well,
stop playing. Why are you playing?
But you know what, I mean, I think that, no, we were pretty, I mean, we kind of set it up in a way where we made sure we stuck to what was there. We shot what was on the page, because I think, you know, the writer spent so much time really perfecting each and every joke. So we made sure we did that. Also, we shot each sketch like short films, right? So there's a narrative kind of aspect that's going along with the sketch, right? But as far as like the improv, I think once we got what was on the page, then we kind of opened up to play a little bit. And that's where you get kind of all the ridiculous stuff. But like, even in shooting and the way we covered it, it's just making sure we're kind of telling this narrative story, but making sure the coverage is not so tight that the actors don't feel like they can kind of move around and play a little bit.
You know what sketch I was really interested in how you guys shot? The one where Robin, your character, is coming to work late because she's spending so much time putting her makeup on, and then she's on the gurney, and then she's got the blood. How long did it take to shoot that? Because that looked like that was a very intricate type of situation to shoot.
About 18 minutes.
Yeah,
and a lot of stress. Really, like, a lot of stress.
Yeah, that one was. Why was I forget why it was?
Did we get the blood? Did we get the blood?
Oh my God, the blood! We had one take to get the blood. Oh my God!
You only had one take?
Yes, it was really insane. It was crazy.
It was very stressful. It was at the end of like a 2 or 3 sketch day. That sketch took. I mean, no sketch really took more than half a day. It couldn't. We just didn't have the time. We shot the whole season in like 21 days or something. It was crazy.
Wow.
So with like 50 some odd pieces of content between all the interstitials and all the sketches. So it was insane. Like nothing took as long as you think it did. Maybe Purgatory Soul Food, because that was one whole day. But yeah, the no makeup thing. And we had to do a makeup change. And I had to do all that zombie makeup. That was all in the same day.
Yeah,
so we shot, I think, what did we shoot? We shot the zombie look first, and then we went back and I wiped my face off, and then we did
the reverse. Yeah. And I mean, I love that one too, because it's like, you know, there are several sketches that feel like very immersed in genre, and that was definitely one of them. And we really got to play. We had a lot of fun, even though that day was definitely one of the it's like peak stressful, but we had a lot of fun.
An early day. No, it was really fun. It was only like our second day, and that's all credit to Dime, because we were like, hey, cool. So you have 4 hours to make magic happen, and then you're gonna go do it again, and then we're gonna sleep for 2 hours and come back and do that again. So it was like what she accomplished when I said cinematic, she said, oh, bet. Like, I got cinematic. Yeah. So I remember no makeup. If you remember, so we cut 3 sketches. We cut Her Temp Masterclass, No Makeup, and Motown Meltdown to show the network. Because if you remember, once we started shooting, they had seen nothing. They saw nothing. Mm-hmm. So all they saw was dailies, but they were like, hey, after like a week or two of shooting, they were like, hey, can you guys cut some sketches so we know what the fuck this show looks like? And
okay, so wait, so wait, back up. You got greenlit for a show and they hadn't seen anything and y'all were in the middle of shooting?
Yeah, nothing. They'd seen nothing. They read scripts, they approved the scripts, but there was no proof of concept. I got greenlit, the show got greenlit straight to series. So there was no proof of concept. I didn't shoot like a sizzle reel or anything like that. I'm telling you, I'm very good at pitching. And so and I had a very clear vision. I don't want to make this sound like this was some sort of like, they just handed me a show situation. Like, I worked very hard. Dime works her butt off. Like the whole cast, all the writers. But so what happened was we cut no makeup. Our editor, Daisha Broadway, cut the mess out of that sketch. And when we sat and we saw it, Dime and I went in on like a Sunday while we were shooting and sat down and we watched that sketch, and we were both like mouths on the floor. We were both like we weren't even there when it was shot. Like, it was, and we could see everything in the monitors. We knew it looked good, but when we saw it put together and with music, we were like, oh, we have a show. Yeah. And then really, for me, that really amped it up. And I was like, okay, the rest of, I think it was actually after week 1 of shooting. So it was like, for the next 3 weeks, we just went so hard. We were already going hard, but that really motivated.
That's so good for me too, because, you know, I had never done sketch before. So getting to do it the way that I would do it, right? And putting it in front of them was really important, because, I mean, I'm the least funny person on set. You know what I mean?
That's not true.
It's not true, actually. No,
that's not true. She's very funny.
No, but it was so great to go in and see, because I was nervous. And like, first of all, the way it goes is like, I get to see everything first, and then, but we were in such a crunch kind of state that we had to go around some of that, right? And I'm glad that we did, because it really helped us. It lit a fire. I mean, we knew what we were doing before, but after seeing it and after like, oh wait, it really works. I mean, we were on fire, which we had to be, because we were shooting like 2 or 3 sketches a day. Like, you got to do it.
It was bananas. It was all fantabulous, though. It really was. It really was. And what else was fantabulous was that guest cast. So they were phenomenal. How did you guys go about grabbing all of the people that you did? Because you grabbed quite a few people, including your mentor, Larry Wilmore. So how did you grab all these people? I know that Victoria Thomas was the casting director for it. How closely did you work with her on your choices?
Oh, very. I mean, Vicki Thomas and I and Lauren Ashley Smith, our head writer, worked hand in hand and talked every day. And, you know, we went to her with this massive list, because there are almost 300 roles on the show, and said, okay, get to it. But we also sent her like dozens and dozens of people we wanted to work with. Everybody from like Katie Dawn on YouTube all the way to Angela Bassett. It was very important to us, not only that we represented you know, major stars, but that we also took folks from the internet, because I think that is a very strong breeding ground for comedy, and people play so many different characters, and then we were able to bring them into sketches as well. And I think that was really critical. It was also really critical for me that we cast women across all ages and across the LGBTQ scope, and across you know, the color and size spectrum for us. I did not want to ever, I wanted every Black woman to see themselves in some way on this show, whether it was an older Black woman, a plus size Black woman, an Afro-Caribbean woman, you know, all of those things were really, really important because we are such a tapestry. We are not one thing. And just in aesthetics alone, I think it's really critical that you see different types of Black women represented on the show. So we worked tirelessly to make that happen. And then don't worry, we're not out of guest stars. There's still a ton of people we tried to get season 1 who either their schedule was busy or she said, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, their schedule was busy or they told us no because they didn't know what the show was going to be. But that was very rare. There were only a few people that really told us no. Most people said yes or I would love to, but my schedule. So.
Okay, I'm glad that you addressed that because it was a fabulous guest cast. You would be watching and all of a sudden this face would pop up. You'd be like, okay, all right. They did that. Just in closing out, we didn't talk a lot about improv, and I know that you have a background at Second City. I studied at Groundlings, but I know you have a great.
What is the Is there B?
But I know that you studied. I'm just playing. I know that you studied at Second City, and since Second City, UCB, Groundlings, everybody's closed. How do you see the foreseeable future for improv moving forward now? You know, with the pandemic and COVID and all of that, and what's going to be the best way for people to work on their stuff in the comedy community right now?
I have no idea. I have no answer for that question. I have no fucking idea. That's a great question.
You're like, I don't know. Okay, next.
Yeah. I think it won't be the traditional way, obviously, but yeah.
I think that is so hard. Like maybe if groups are getting tested and they do a Zoom and they can see people. I mean, I know some stand-ups are doing stand-up shows that way, but for improv and sketch, you need a live audience. You need people there. Who are you going to get a suggestion from that'll fit on the stage? You know, so I don't know. That's a great question. That
actually came from the audience, so we'll give them a big ups. Whoever asked that question.
Thank you. That's a great question. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer.
That's all good. Another person says, "Thank you for your show. It was one of the sources of comedy that got me through the earlier days of the pandemic. You might not want to comment on another show, however, seeing how funny, versatile, and skilled you all are. But can you comment on why SNL went so long without a Black female cast member? What was their excuse? Talented Black female comedians like your cast obviously existed."
And there's so many more where that comes from. I could have cast 800 Black women on this show. And honestly, there are many who are mad at me that I didn't. And I'm like, I'll get to you. I can only do so much. I can't comment on that. I am fortunately not Lorne Michaels, and I have no idea. I have no idea. I think it's the same as everything, right? We're not valued. We're not seen. So I think it's cool now. But SNL made strides. I mean, I auditioned for SNL in 2013, and then they had their Black lady audition in 2014 and hired Leslie Jones. They hired LaKendra Chucks to write. Amber Ruffin auditioned, but then she got on Seth Meyers. So they have been, and they have a much more multicultural cast now with Bowen Yang and Ego and Chris Redd, you know, lots of folks. So, look, I think they've got to run their own race and do their own thing. But I know that my show is here a platform for people who have not been asked to host SNL. So folks like Angela Bassett, folks like truly everybody we had on the show who haven't been included in that group. And look, they're only one show too. The same way I'm only one show, they're only one show. They're one show that's been on for 50 decades, but 50 years, 50 decades. But
we got you, we here.
Yeah. But I think, look, I don't know. I think they're doing better, but at the end of the day, I am very happy with my SNL audition in 2013. I got really good feedback. It didn't work out for me, but look what did, and it never, that's part of that resilience. Like there's no reason to give up. That person who pitched a Black lady sketch show to 3 Arts to pitch it somewhere else. Like one no is not the end of anything. Trust me, if one no was the end of anything, I would have been out of this business. And when did I start dying? 1930?
20.
23.
Yeah.
23. It was a good year.
Resilience is definitely the adjective that you need to use when dealing with performing and the entertainment industry. Thank you. Thank you so much for the Girls Council. Thank you for the plus size agent. Thank you for Dr. Hadassah. Thank you for all of those images of Black women. Dr. Hadassah with her blonde locks. Thank you for all those images that we've seen on a Black Lady sketch show. Thank you so much, Robin Thede and Dime Davis, for joining us. And I was your moderator, Carla Renata, the Kirby Film Critic. Thank you so very, very much for joining us this evening.
Yes,
thank you
so much, Robbins. Thank you so much, Dime.
Thank you,
Carla, for being with us tonight. I hope we'll welcome you again at the American Cinematheque for more of your project to be discussed. And to the first, good luck at the Emmys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
To the audience, thank you so much for zooming in and for spending your evening with us.